Mrs. Lloyd began to wrap up her boy like a baby. Through the mist, though the mist had gone and the sky was brightened, she bundled him out into the passage, talking non-stop and nervously to her husband and Mrs. Griffiths. And while she spoke, Alan looked back at Gwyn and said, I found this out there as well. And he put something cold into Gwyn's hand. The snow spider. Gwyn curled his fingers around the spider as Alan whispered hoarsely, "Don't tell about what I said, will you?" "I won't tell," Gwyn grinned. "One loony's enough." Alan grinned back and gave the thumbs up before his mother whisked him through the door. Mr. Griffiths had his way, and Eardley stayed for Christmas. It was the sort of Christmas one always remembers. The trees were iced with snow, and the sun came out to make the mountains sparkle. The biggest Christmas tree they had ever seen at Tibrin had been put in the front room and decorated with lights like candles, with silver stars and homemade sweets wrapped in coloured paper. The log fire was lit, and they all played Monopoly and Scrabble, and even made up games so as to prolong the fun. Mrs. Griffiths played carols on the out-of-tune piano with damp hammers, and it didn't matter that the soloists were sometimes out of tune too. The children were allowed to drink punch, which made them giggle at 9, who had drunk too much and looked like a Christmas tree herself, all bedecked in coloured beads and bangles. Just before they went to bed, Aries looked out of the window at the white moonlit mountain and said, "It reminds me of home." Only Gwyn heard her, and he knew what she was talking about. That she was not talking about Wales, and it occurred to him for the first time she might not stay with him forever. On New Year's Day, the children decided to walk in the fields. It was a cold day, and while the girl waited in the garden, Gwyn ran up to fetch the gloves his father had given him for Christmas. They were blue and silver lined with fur, and Gwyn cherished them even more than his black watch. When he opened the drawer, he saw Arianwen and the silver pipe. They looked so innocent. Who would guess what they could do? One that had travelled 1,000,000 miles or more, and the other from somewhere in the distant past. They would always be with him now, he knew that. And as he turned away, the pipe whispered something. It sounded like, "Don't go." Gwyn smiled and drew on his gloves. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. His parents were outside in the garden with Eardley. They were standing by the gate, talking quietly while they stared up at the mountain. They did not see Gwyn when he came out, nor hear him close to the front door. "I have to go soon," he heard Eardley say. "I have to go back to where I came from." His parents didn't speak immediately. They seemed to have been frozen by her remark, and then Mrs. Griffith put her hand out and gently tucked the girl's hair in a hood, saying, "Do you have to go, Eardley? Can't you stay?" Eardley shook her head. "Were you happy there? Where you come from?" Mr. Griffith asked. "Oh yes, very happy." They did not ask where she lived. They did not want to know. And when Gwyn broke into their thoughts, "Come on," he cried, "I'll race you to the trees," and he ran past them through the open gate. Eardley followed and ran to the circle of hawthorn trees where Gwyn had released Arianwen. The snow had melted and the grass was smooth and green. There was nothing to show that the earth had shaken or that the icicles had flown from it like stars. "Why couldn't she escape without my help?" Gwyn asked aloud. "She has her own powers." "She has nothing without you," said Eardley. "She needs your thoughts to help her." "She's just an ordinary spider then." "Oh no. No creature from my place is common or garden thing. My place," there it was again. "You're leaving here?" He put the question cautiously. Today, she answered. What? So soon you can't? They are coming for me. She looked up at the sky, and even with your magic, I only had until today. Do you want to go? Oh, yes. Her reply came back like a deep, contented sigh. But Mam and Dad, they understood. I said I had to go back where I came from.